Here on this podcast, I like to talk about all things going on in our lives, out in the world, new trends, and important topics affecting the Latino Hispanic community, all from my point of view. I'm taking the old generation versus new generation way of thinking and offering my humblest advice. If you choose to follow that, that's on you. For liability purposes, keep in mind anything discussed on this podcast is based on my life experiences and opinions based on what I know, and of my special guests from time to time. Hola mi gente, welcome to the Al Fin del Día podcast. I am your host, Angie. I know it's been a while since you last heard of me. Last time I recorded an episode was about 6 months ago. The last episode was back in October. It was about my mother, and her upbringing, where she's from, how she grew up, and how she came to be in the U.S. Fortunately, in the last 6 months, I have been going through it. My mental health has not been the best, but it hasn't been my worst. I've had worse moments before, but thankfully I'm working through them. I'm at a better place at the moment. It comes and goes. It's nothing I haven't dealt with before, but I did lose motivation at that time. It was hard for me to find the motivation and want to continue this, but I pushed through and I'm here now 6 months later. I'm sorry guys, but I'm back. There are actually a few changes in the last 6 months. For starters, my mother won't necessarily be part of it anymore, so it's not going to be a mother and daughter duo, unfortunately. Kind of sad about that, but I think that this isn't her forte, and I don't think she felt comfortable exposing herself in that way and talk about certain topics. And look, to be honest, I didn't really ask her. I just kind of read the room, and when I read the room, she just didn't seem comfortable, and she didn't really look like she was motivated or even wanting to do this. She had made a comment before. She's like, "You're the one that wants to do this anyway, blah blah blah." Obviously this is not how she said it, but it's just me and my dramatic daughter voice. But yeah, I just don't want to put her in a position where she has to talk about something that she's not comfortable with sharing with the world. I don't know what the fuck. This is just my thoughts, right? Entonces, si los que me entendieron básicamente van a ver un poco de cambios aquí en este programa. Lamentablemente, mi mamá ya no va a ser parte del programa simplemente porque no creo que esta sea su cosa de ser. Se me hizo que ella no estaba tan confortable en hablar de ciertos temas. Y pues no la quiero empujar a hablar de cosas que ella no esté confortable en exponiéndose en esa manera. Entonces no va a ser parte del programa, a lo mejor de vez en cuando, o a lo mejor sea una guest, pero ya a menudo que vengan los siguientes episodios, simplemente solo va a ser un programa de mí, básicamente. Voy a estar hablando de las mismas cositas que yo quería hablar entre ese idea de madre e hija. Simplemente yo los voy a hablar, voy a dar mis opiniones, son mis opiniones, mis experiencias, mis pensamientos, mi perspectiva de la vida, de lo que yo he vivido, de lo que yo vi con mis propios ojos, de lo que yo pienso, de lo que yo he aprendido, de lo que yo viví, de lo que mi mamá me enseñó y de lo que me enseñaron mis hermanas. Entonces no gran cambio, pero sí un cambio que es lamentable, pero ¿qué le vamos a hacer? Prefiero yo estar aquí sola y hablar de mis cosas o de hablar de cosas sin tener que pararme a mí misma. I want to be able to just express myself the way I want to without holding back, without, tiptoeing around certain subjects and feeling like I'm not being my full 100%. Quiero ser al 100% yo. Quiero ser auténtica. Quiero hablar de cosas difíciles. We're just going to push through, move forward, and hopefully it goes well either way, At the end of the day, I'm going to take this as my journal of me just talking shit and letting shit out and hoping for the best and hoping people can relate and enjoy it. Entertain you guys, and hopefully you guys like it and support and you share all that shit, all that good shit. Like I said, I'm still gonna talk about the same idea of the old generation versus new generation. It's just obviously me talking about both from my perspectives and maybe from the perspectives of future guests I'm hoping to have. And I hope you guys like it. Like I said, it's still going to be a bilingual show. I'm going to go in and out of my Spanish and English. So keep up. And if you don't, we'll maybe take up Duolingo lessons. I'm doing that currently. I'm pushing myself to learn a new language, and hopefully it comes out great. I also want to give notice to family, friends, acquaintances, and just people I know and people that know me, my family, and all that good jazz. Everything that I'm going to talk about on this podcast, my mom is aware. I made sure to sit down with her and discuss certain topics with her, or at least reveal certain things that I had not talked to her about and she wasn't aware of. So, for example, if I talk about drinking or drugs or sex or just more difficult topics, just know that she is aware, and I'm not afraid of hiding that shit. I'm also not afraid of my family members knowing, because honestly, we're all fucking grown at this point. I am 27 years old. I've never hidden anything from my mom. Maybe at the time that I did it, I did hide it, but now she is fully aware of what I've done when I was in college, shit like that. Like, she knows. So, para mi familia, para la gente que me conoce, la gente que yo conozco, la gente que conoce a mi familia, que conoce a mi mamá, que conoce a mis hermanas y mis hermanos, mis sobrinos, sobrinas, todo, mis amigos, mis conocidos, los que estén escuchando, todo lo que yo voy a hablar en este programa, mi mamá ya lo sabe. Yo ya me senté con ella, hablé de ciertos temas con ella, de lo que he hecho en el pasado o que estoy actualmente haciendo, o simplemente de mi vida. Ella sabe todo y no me voy a esconder de eso en este programa, porque como yo les mencioné, yo quiero ser la más auténtica que puedo ser, la más honesta, la más clara, transparente, porque yo al fin del día quiero que gente se pueda relacionar conmigo. Quiero que se sientan que tienen a alguien a su lado y que se puedan coincidir con mis ideas, ¿ok? Y honestamente me vale lo que piense la gente. Me he preocupado por muchos años de lo que pueden hablar de mí, lo que piensen de mí, pero finalmente me vale. Mis hermanas, la mayoría, ellas saben todos. Mi mamá, como les dije, ella también. Y saben que yo tengo mi opinión sobre ciertas cosas y no me da miedo de hablar. Obviamente voy a ser discreta cuando se involucra de gente que conocemos, pero tampoco voy a esconderme o esconder del tema, porque como les digo, quiero ser lo más auténtica, quiero ser más clara, quiero ser honesta y quiero que gente me entienda. Just know my mama knows, and if my mama knows, it don't matter. Anything else doesn't matter. As I mentioned, in the last 6 months, I've been MIA due to mental health decline, ups and downs, all that shit. And so within these past 6 months, I realized that I didn't really get to talk about me, how I grew up, and, you know, just things that have shaped me to be the person I am today. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still putting a lot of the values that were instilled in me into practice, and also creating my own values and, you know, putting those into practice. But I want to talk about me and just let you guys know, like, what's up? Get to know me. As I mentioned before, I'm 27 years old. I am from H-Town, throw it down, Houston, Texas. I was born and raised here. I never really did much growing up. Just because, one, I'm the baby of 5. I have one older brother. He's the oldest out of all of us. And then my 3 older sisters. And so with being the youngest, yes, you can get away with a lot of things. But in this household, I did not. I was hella overprotected. I had to do what I was told without questioning it, without talking back. And so I think a lot of my childhood feeling and quote unquote traumas are stemmed from the fact that I really couldn't speak up and voice my opinion because I was the youngest, and in a Hispanic household, you respect your elders. You're not going to talk back. If not, you're going to get slapped. Now, I did have a happy childhood. I'm not going to lie. Again, because I am the youngest, yes, I did get spoiled and I did get shit handed to me. But, it doesn't mean that my family didn't go through hardship, because trust me, we fucking did. With those hardships came certain feelings as a child that I think at the time I wasn't aware of until now as a grown 27-year-old woman. And through therapy, have discovered that I did go through shit and I did have traumas, and that I wasn't in a healthy household. Not because we didn't try, or because there was violence, or because, there was mistreatment or abuse. No, it's not to that extreme. I just think that because of the values and traditions and just the upbringing of my mother, and then my siblings' upbringing as well, I think a lot of that, especially being a family from Central America, Honduras to be exact, you're a little bit more conservative, and you're taught, like I said, when you're young, your elders, you respect your elders. Even if they're fucking wrong, you're not going to go against them. You're just going to be like quiet and yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. And that's somewhat of how I grew up. The only thing and the differences between me and my siblings is that they were born in Central America and I was born here in the United States. So I had that advantage. I had more opportunities, which is why it's always, to be honest, thrown in my face that I had it easier. And again, I did. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I did have it easier, but I think it came at a cost to certain things, and I just had to deal with it. Not really had a voice to be like, oh, but blah 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 and so. Having a voice in my household wasn't something that I had ever. It wasn't until probably till I turned 15. And even then, I barely started having a voice, having an opinion, having the floor and safe space to be able to voice my opinion and to be heard. Because even till this day, it's hard to have a fucking word in this family, or like have your voice be heard, because you're still seen as the youngest and you're still seen as a child. Even though you yourself, me, myself, do not feel like a child. I am seen as somebody just because I am not married, because I don't have kids, I don't have real problems. And yes, if you are listening, dearest fam, just because, and I'm gonna say this right now, just because I'm not married, just because I do not have kids, just because I don't have my own fucking home, does not mean I don't have real stresses, doesn't mean I don't have real problems in my life. Your problems are your problems. My problems are my problems. Am I going to understand the extent of your problems? No. Are you going to understand the extent of my problems? Absolutely not. Especially because we have such a big age gap. The age gap between me and my sister before me is 10 years. The age gap between me and my cousins is at least 5. 2 to 5 plus more years. I didn't really grow up with people my age, exactly my age, just surrounding my age. I have cousins younger, older, but I never truly felt like I belonged within my family, immediate family, and then just extended family, because of that age gap and just how everyone else was brought up. Majority of my family was born in Honduras, and since I was one of the very few that was born over here, I can only relate to a very few of them. With that dynamic also translated with the dynamic of my friends that I had growing up. A lot of my friends growing up, I felt like I couldn't relate to them either, because of how I was brought up as well. Just because I was brought up here in the United States does not mean I wasn't brought up in a traditional Hispanic household. Your girl wasn't allowed to have friends. Friends didn't exist. Boys did not exist whatsoever. Going to the movies, going to school dances, hanging out, having sleepovers, all that shit, that was not for me. Mama wasn't letting me do that shit. And even till this day, she still kind of is sus about it, but she can't really say shit now. My mom can't really say shit now because I've proven myself time and time again that I am responsible. To be fucking fair, I've done everything my mother has asked of me, whether my siblings believe it or not. I truly fucking have. I busted my ass in high school to get good grades, to not get in trouble. I was a goody two-shoes in high school, or generally throughout my whole entire life. I've been a goody two-shoes and always done what my elders have told me. And even though I didn't agree with it, and even if I did give them attitude, I still did it. I went to college. I got my fucking degree just like mama asked. And now I do feel like I have the right to live my life the way I live it, how I see fit. And of course, I will welcome advice. I will welcome lectures. I will welcome everything. I may not want to hear it at the time, but I understand it, and trust me, it goes in one ear and it stays in this fucking noggin, because my entire fucking life, I have always had the voices of my siblings and my mother especially here, guiding me of what is right, what is wrong. I have always put my family first, whether they believe it or not. I have always put my mom and my siblings first. At least, if not my siblings, my mother for sure. Because I never want to ever disappoint her. I never wanted for her to look at me and be like, you are not my daughter, type of shit. But with that being said, I have proven myself time and time again that I am deserving of the life I want to have, the way I want to do it. And if that means literally tripping and falling and struggling to get up, but finally getting up, that means that I just have to do it like that. And again, at the end of the day, nobody pays my bills. I fucking wish. But nobody helps me with bills. Nobody helps me with my struggles. You know, they're there for me for the most part. Emotionally and mentally, maybe not. But I understand that they grew up differently. And there's always going to be that disconnect between me and them on that level. And that's okay. I've grown to have to face that fact. And even though sometimes it hurts to accept it, I just got to live with it. Because I know they're never going to see it my way. I'm never going to see it their way. I just hope that one day we can meet in the middle and just have an understanding and accept our faults and accept our feelings. I don't know. I went on a fucking tangent, but I've always had this dynamic, or I've always had this feeling of drifting between people, drifting between my family, extended family, my friends, my acquaintances, even at work. I feel like I don't necessarily fit in anywhere. So when I went off to college, I purposefully moved as far as I could from my family to be able to live as independent as I could be at that time, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to struggle purposefully, because every day growing up, I heard, I'm not always going to be here. You got to learn on your own. And so what better way to fucking learn on my own than to move the fuck away, you know? And it's funny because a lot of the time while I was over there, it was like, you're coming back home after graduation, right? Who said? Did it come from me? Absolutely fucking not. That is something that you made up in your head. You decided for me. I never said yes. I never said no. I simply am here to do what I need to do, and then I will figure it out. And that's what happened. You know, I went to college far away as possible, and I experienced a lot. Everything that I didn't get to do while I was here in high school and experience the same things people my age at the time were experiencing and doing, I did in college. And honestly, I'm very fucking thankful that I did it there and not at home, because I feel like if I had done the things I've done while I was still in high school, I think I may have disappointed my mother, or at least given her more problems to worry about than she already had at the time. So I'm thankful to have been sheltered. I'm thankful to have been overprotected and hindered, because I learned to be mature at an early age. Again, fucking females in general mature faster than males. But at that time, I definitely matured faster than the than everybody in my age group while I was in high school, because my mentality in high school was, what the fuck are y'all doing? Why are y'all over here acting foolish? My thing is, the way you behave to get attention, to get someone's approval. My mentality back then was, I don't want anybody's approval. I don't need anybody's approval. I'm just here to fucking get my diploma and get the fuck out and try to see if I can make something of myself. And the fact that I saw a lot of people my age in that time who were fucking smart as hell do the dumbest shit ever, I was disappointed. I was like, bruh, this is the fucking future. This is what a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm like, you could be doing so much better and doing so many other things with your time and potential, but you're over here wasting it on some dumbass dude, some dumbass girl that after high school, they're not going to give a fuck about you. I had this mentality in high school, and not because I truly felt it, but I think because of the maturity, or at least the responsibilities and the values, as well as the expectations. I think I felt superior, but I felt superior on a mental level, because when I was going to high school, my thought was, I have to work my ass off to help my mama, to help my siblings. I'm not here to fuck up, get pregnant, be another fucking statistic. I'm here to make sure I make something of myself, so I can not only make my family proud, but to be able to help them in the future. And being able to be grouped with the same fucking idiots while at school, that's not gonna be me. And I think in that aspect is why I felt superior. And for those who know me and knew me in high school, I'm sorry, but that's just how I thought. And I know there are some people that I still talk to, one or two. My girl, she knows who she is, and I love her to death. And the fact that she is still my friend, and she's a low maintenance friend, and I love her for it, because she understands that just because you don't talk to me every day, or because I don't talk to her every day, does not mean she's not my friend. She is somebody I still value, because she's a fucking bad bitch. Not only that, but she is a strong, independent woman, and she's always been the I don't give a fuck attitude, and I love her for that. It's people like her, one, that I still talk to, and two, her mentality I shared. Even though in general I felt like I didn't belong with anybody, or didn't relate to anybody, she is one of the few people who I value as a person and as a friend, because we share the same type of mentality of like, we're gonna be something, I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm not gonna waste my potential on stupid shit and stupid people and stupid decision making. You know what I mean? Anyway, again, I went through hardship. My dad got sick. At that time, my mom had to become the breadwinner. So we saw her, but we didn't see her. The person that was taking care of me, or who was pendiente de mí mientras mi mamá trabajaba, era mi hermana, una de mis hermanas. Ella fue la que cuidó de mí mientras mi mamá trabajaba. Y pues props to my mom, because she's a fucking warrior. Mi mamá es una guerrera, es una mujer fuerte, es una mujer que a pesar de todo, a pesar de los sacrificios, a pesar de todo lo malo, ella siempre adelante y trabajando duro y dándole al 100%. Aunque ella no se sienta al 100, ella siempre le da. Mientras mi mamá trabajaba día y noche para poder proveer por nosotros y por mi papá, que al momento él estaba enfermo, mi hermana cuidaba de mí. Y ella se aseguraba que yo hiciera lo que tenía que hacer, que era hacer mis tareas, limpiar y acostarme temprano para poder ir a la escuela temprano el siguiente día. Y si yo sacaba una mala nota, ella es la que me corregía, ella es la que me regañaba. Creo que creciendo así en esa dinámica, ¿verdad? Que a veces tus hermanos o hermanas tienen que ser tus segundos padres también. Obviamente no hablamos o no estamos conscientes de que ellos también hacen sacrificios para los menores. Y con todo mi corazón le agradezco a mi hermana, y a mis hermanas, porque ella no fue la única, a todos mis hermanos, los sacrificios que ellos también hicieron para poder cuidar de mí y asegurar que yo también tuviera una vida buena y que yo tuviera las oportunidades que tuve y tengo, porque yo sé que sin mi mamá, sin mi papá, sin mis hermanos, yo no estuviera en la posición que yo estoy hoy. Con todo el amor en el corazón que tengo para ellos, siempre voy a estar endeudado con ellos. Yo sé que nunca en esta vida voy a poder repagarle todos, especialmente a mi mamá, pero sé y agradezco que ellos hayan hecho esos sacrificios para mí. But yeah, I'm grateful for all of that. Yeah, so my dad got sick when I was 4. My mom had to become the breadwinner. My siblings, obviously at the time, as they grew up and they graduated high school and whatnot, and you know, they ended up getting married. The only one left was the sister before me, and she ended up taking care of me when my mom wasn't around because of work. She's the one that took care of my school stuff. She's the one that reprimanded me, made sure I got my shit done for school, made sure that I had nothing less than a B in all my classes, and if I did have a B, that shit better become an A type of a thing. So all of that was instilled in me, and education was something that was highly a number one. There was no room for voice, no room for to even think about it, porque si no te quemaban el gallo. And a lo que me refiero es que yo crecí con que la educación es lo número uno. Tú vas a hacer algo en esta vida, no vas a abrir tus piernas para ningún huerco, no vas a arruinar a tu vida por un culi cagado, nada de eso. Si tú abres las piernas, te quemó el gallo. And if you don't know what el gallo is, it's down there. Pero con eso te amenazaban o te metían el miedo que no pensaras en esas cosas. Porque el sexo, el querer tener novio, el querer tener novia, el querer de cosas relevantes a todo eso no existía y eso no podía existir en tu mente hace tiempo, o at least para mí eso fue lo que a mí me metieron de miedo, que yo no podía pensar en eso. So the fact that I was instilled that fear of not having to think about, when it got to the point where obviously I hit puberty and I started liking boys, and I want to have like little boyfriends. You know, I had people my age, they had their boyfriends already of like a year or whatever the fuck. My quirky, dorky, nerdy ass self, even if I liked a boy, I could not act on it. But when I did act on it, the fear and the guilt I felt for hiding that shit from my mom was so debilitating that all I ever heard in my head was my mama's voice is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What did I tell you? The way I came out of gallo. Like that type of, that is trauma. And for family members that may be listening, they're gonna be like, trauma? Yeah, fucking right. But it is. In hindsight, that shit is traumatizing. As a fucking kid growing up with that type of like fear or like that threat of like, the one I came out of gallo, even though that is not something they did, it's still fucking fear-inducing. So yeah, I had my very first official boyfriend relationship at the age of 25, 26. Don't get me wrong, I dated in college. Anything before college, absolutely fucking not. I could not, because I would die. I would be dead. And trust me, I got caught a lot of times having little boyfriends, technically only one, but yeah, I got my ass beat because of that. And thankfully I was like goody two shoes that I can count on one hand the many times I got beaten by my mom because of the bad shit or the bad choices I made in life during that time. So yes, I was a good fucking child, and till this day I still technically am, but I'm more okay with making mistakes and not feeling guilty for them and learning from them. So yeah, that is basically fucking it, bro. Like, it's crazy. But I don't know if I mentioned or not, but I went to school at UT, University of Texas at Austin, and I graduated with a bachelor's in psychology. Tell me why I spent 4.5 years at UT, got a psych degree, and don't even work in it. And trust me, I've been told that fucking phrase so many fucking times, and I've been told that it's a waste of fucking money. Well, guess what, bitch? It got me through the door. And at the end of the day, an undergraduate degree gets you a chance. It may not be in the field that you got your undergrad degree in, but it fucking helps to get you through the door. I originally didn't even want to fucking do psychology. My unrealistic or maybe realistic dream was to be within the criminal field, not committing crimes obviously, but I wanted to do criminal justice. Or something within that field. But unfortunately, UT didn't offer a full-fledged program for criminal justice. It had classes, but it didn't really have like a full-on program. And so at that time, obviously, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. And I knew that I was interested in behavior, interested in why people do the things they do. I grew up watching a lot of true crime and like Law and Order and NCIS, CSI Miami, CSI New York, all them fucking like crime shows, right? And so I always thought of myself as somebody that was going to be like a forensic analyst or something along those lines that was going to be helping the justice system in a way. Because UT didn't offer something like that, technically a dream of mine would be to become a detective. I know it's not lucrative and it's not exactly how fucking Hollywood portrays it. I fucking know. But it's still a dream, and maybe one day, maybe, that was a dream of mine. UT didn't offer the ideal of what I wanted, and the next best thing was behavior and studying all that shit. So I went with psychology, and psychology has always been interesting to me, and I did it, you know. I mean, I'm here. I got a bachelor's degree in psychology. Halfway through my degree, or halfway through my college career, I lost my motivation for it. There came a point in time where I said, I quit. I want to go back home. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life. And I think everybody goes through that crisis where you have set out a plan to know what your end goal was or is. And then once you're on the track to it and you realize, fuck, this isn't what I want to do, sometimes it's too late. And honestly, had I opened up my mouth, had I actually acted on it, I probably could have gotten a pre-law degree or communications and some shit. Like, I could have changed my degree, but I felt like I was too deep into psych or too deep into my years, because by the time, like, the end of sophomore year or beginning of junior year, I was like, I don't want to do psychology anymore. I want to do pre-law, or I want to do something within the communication system. I felt like it was too late to change my degree, a lot of money wasted, and so I stuck through that shit and I wasn't happy, but I pushed through. I graduated. I did shit I didn't think I was ever gonna do. Good shit, not bad shit, but I did that too. Whatever I did and didn't do, good and bad, in college, I am thankful for as well, because it has shaped me to be the strong, independent, bad bitch woman that I am today. Also with the people that I chose to be my family. I have a chosen family and they know who they are, especially my bestie, my girl, mi chiquitita linda. Ella sabe quién es. Ella es mi familia también y es de por vida. Hay gente que puedo por lo menos contar en una mano, que yo sé que son mi familia. A lo mejor no, y no estoy hablando de mi familia de sangre. Estoy hablando de mi familia que yo escogí mientras yo me fui para Austin cuando fui a estudiar. Tengo amigos y amigas, y no son varios tampoco, Es gente que yo sé que son de por vida, que han estado ahí para mí en mis momentos más débiles, en mis momentos más alegres y tristes, que yo sé que nos cambió la vida mutuamente, y yo sé que ellos van a estar ahí por mí y para mí cuando los necesite, y hasta el día de hoy han estado ahí, y yo también igual. Y mi mejor amiga, que como dije, ¿sabe quién es? Te quiero, chiquitita. She has been my longest relationship. She has been my truest relationship. She is one of the biggest pieces of me because she has helped me through my rough times. I have helped her through her rough times as well. But I wish I could put into words and I could physically show her and put it in visuals for her to show her how important she is in my life. And for the person that is in her life currently, bro, you already know who you are. I know that you are and will be taking care of her. I know you love her, and I'm happy that she met you because she has been the happiest with you that I've ever fucking seen, and I'm glad she's in good hands. And just know, if you ever fuck up, I'm coming after your ass. Point being is that I have my chosen family, and I love my chosen family. And if it wasn't for COVID, my ass would still be over there, and I would probably maybe not be happy. I'm happy now. I didn't want to come back to Houston, but unfortunately, you gotta go where the tide takes you, and I'm back here. But that's a story for another day. I hope I somewhat explained my life or about me just a little bit for you guys to be curious to know. As I mentioned in the beginning, shit is gonna be different now. It's gonna be a one-woman show. I'm gonna try my best to do what I gotta do. My goal with this, and I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast itself, my goal for this podcast is for me to help at least one person out there. Just know that if I have helped you in any fucking way in your life for the better, I have done my job on this earth. And that is my ultimate goal with whatever I do, whether I do this, whether I do what I do at work, as a daughter, as a friend, as a sister, as a significant other, maybe to somebody in the future. If I at least have helped one person in life during my lifetime, I have done what God has set out for me to do. And that's what I'm gonna strive to do with this podcast. I want to be there for you guys. I want to be the person that I wish I had when I was little, and you're not alone. I'm here for whoever wants to talk. Just know that much.
If you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to touch on, message us on our socials at alfindeldiapod or email at alfindeldiapod@gmail.com. Stay tuned every 2 weeks for new episodes. Al fin del día, mi gente, aquí los dejo. Hasta la próxima. Besos.